Sports multiverse. Once again, it's on because once again, the mega powers are coming to you live from the epicenter of nostalgia mania here at the On the Money Sports Lounge, Casino, Theater, Art Center with the four TVs and the arcade. It's here live on the Money Sports, on the Money podcast, uncensored, unfiltered, and guess what? Unscripted. Because for one of the few times in the history of this podcast, I did not bring my notebook with me. Everything is going to be off the cuff, right from the heart, breaking everything down that's going down in the world of sports.
Why
What happened?
are we bringing Terrell Austin back?
Is that what that was? That was the notification? Terrell Austin?
He is finalizing a 2-year contract to remain the defensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Not Calvin Austin, who I spent 25 fab bucks on, who's currently on my taxi squad. He's still sitting there, waiting for his moment.
The excuses, he had all these injuries, and look how they were the 5th-ranked best scoring defense. Bro, I'm tired of watching tight ends run free. I'm tired of watching excellent wide receivers run free. But that's that.
And the man that needs no introduction, ladies and gentlemen, the former On the Money Sports fantasy champion, none other than Oscar O Money Muniz.
Oh.
So, Steelers pissed you off right before the pod started. Threw off your train of thought. You know, my teams do that a lot to me on podcast nights. So it's nice that it happens to someone that's not me right before we go live. So that someone else knows what it feels like to have their thought process completely derailed. Like when we traded for Russell Westbrook.
Oh, it's derailed right now.
Like when we fired a multitude of people while I was live. Like when we traded A.J. Brown while I was at work. It's nice for some people to get some not so amazing, spectacular news because you capture the moment on camera. You capture the raw emotion and the raw perspective. You're obviously not excited about it. He's about to get on Steeler Depot right now and just start chopping them down one by one. Everybody who's cheering on
At least I have the exclusive On the Money Sports Oscar Money Funko Pop. Yeah, don't you guys forget that.
That's very hard to get a hold of. It's actually damn near impossible. As everybody slowly kicks back, relaxes, gets comfortable for another edition of On the Money podcast. Feels good to be back after 2 weeks with so much happening across the board with sports. Basketball is heating up. We've got our Final Four for football.
Somebody leaving 107 points on their fantasy roster.
Oh, shout out to the Supreme Baller Society, baby. Favorite basketball league, the league that, well, I'm only in 2 basketball leagues. I check one more than the other. It's not that I don't love the Yahoo Basketball League. It's just in Supreme Ballers, I've really got something to prove this year. It's year 3. I have yet to make the playoffs. Myself and Drew have been the Detroit Pistons and the Charlotte Hornets of that league for far too long. So we're both taking a stand. We're both the 5 and the 6.
Shout out to Kevin Durant for helping Raj beat Terrell last week to give me the number 1 spot by myself.
I escaped with a narrow victory last week, putting me at 7-5-1 in the 5th spot, playing against, I think, the number 1 or the number 2 seed this week in Supreme Ballers. So we'll be doing some Supreme Baller Society updates throughout the podcast, breaking it down. I have a couple of guys starting. I got to double check on their stat lines for tonight's games. We got basketball. I'm actually... You know, the AEW marks would be proud of me. I'm sitting here and I'm actually watching AEW programming, trying to make sense of the plots and the booking. So I'll have my thoughts on that as well through the entirety of this podcast.
WCW Diet.
Diet WCW at its finest. Sponsored by the best food in town, 8th Street, with the iconic.
Here we go.
Oh, I don't know, Jim.
I don't know, Jim. Are we going to talk Chinese food like we did yesterday?
It's funny as hell because, like, that's one of those things where I felt like I was kind of having an epiphany at the dining room table. Like, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, and I'm just like, you know what? Ever since I've been out here, I feel like I've just enjoyed the Chinese food from Violin way more the times that I've had it. I haven't had it as much, and when I do have it, I feel like I don't know, like better about it. Like the General Tso's chicken from 8th Street, from Main Road, is what it's supposed to be. My thing was I didn't keep that to myself. I got on the Twitter machine, in this case the Facebook machine. I voiced my opinion, and 75 comments later,
that is true.
I've got a breakdown of all the places I need to go for some Chinese food. All the best places. There's the best food in town out here. By
it's
the
good.
High school.
I enjoy it. It's not 8th Street, but
I remembered it. It's the one where I came out with the box of food because we went in that day. I got myself the seafood lo mein, the General Tso's chicken, of course. It was okay. It's not on the same tier of 8th Street in Violin, as long as we all have that understood. There's tiers to this shit. There's levels to this shit. I don't remember Ocean Garden. Sounds familiar, but I'm not totally sure if we ordered from there. Like I said, there's like 3 or 4 things that I get all the time. And if those aren't made to my liking, you know, one strike and you're out. And I mean, 8th Street has no strikes. They just
no strikes at all.
Oh, it was just absolutely amazing. Nonetheless, though, here we are, back in the flesh, ready for another edition of On the Money Podcast. General Tso's Chicken chose to decline to make any statements on what went down yesterday.
The General Tso's Chicken at the high school best in town is good. I get it.
Is it the second best?
Well, it's not. Nothing compares to 8th Street.
Well, I mean, would you be willing to at least call it second best, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, I forgot about Sino Walk.
Sino Walk in
next to Acme, where we used to work at the Burger King.
You know, I don't remember what their General Tso's chicken is like. I just know that, like, out in this area, it feels like
you got to be careful with theirs because they legit put the red spicy peppers in there still. The ones that you bite that will destroy your tongue.
It'll open your pores. It'll open up. You can breathe a lot better when you bite into one of those.
My mouth was on fire. I'll never forget. I was 17 years old. My mom got me Chinese food. I was eating the General Tso's. I bit in that pepper, not realizing it. We were at Sears. We were just getting to Sears so I could get a shirt for graduation. Oh my goodness. Pain like I never felt in my life before.
I'm trying to where are you sharing this video off of? So I can't see the comments or who's like saying what. Actually.
I think you got to go on the actual.
There's this too.
That's I got fine. This up for you.
All right. Sorry, guys.
Chris said one comment, and the podcast is derailed to Asian cuisine.
I was trying to gather my thoughts. That's basically what happened with the post yesterday. I thought that post was probably going to get maybe 2 likes and 1 comment, and instead that shit went viral across the community. I just think that in my experience so far, living out here for over a year, the General Tso's chicken tends to have that same color of the sweet and sour chicken, I guess. Like it's almost too much like it to where it's not it's not
as spicy, the one in Millville.
It's not generally enough, I feel like.
I will say that the one in Millville is not as spicy as the one in Violin.
Yeah.
The boneless chicken out here tastes just as good as the boneless chicken out there.
I'm all about that pepper, bro. I'm all about that pepper. What up, Julio?
And Drew has arrived.
What up, Drewski?
He's the alien.
What's going on? What up, Mike D? We're just tapping in right now, catching up because it's been a long time. It's been a long 2 weeks.
Ocean Garden cream cheese wontons with the warm duck sauce dip.
I don't do cheese like that. I don't do cheese like that, bro. I'm sorry. Nothing against anybody, all the cheese lovers out there in the world. Nothing against it. It's just not my twist. I don't mess with cheese. Heather, Jayla, they've ordered those. They have no complaints as far as those go.
The bowl of sparrow platter is good at the one at the high school.
That one's hard to mess up.
The shrimp and broccoli's good.
Shrimp and broccoli.
Yeah.
I want to see what the beef and broccoli.
I will say their egg rolls are smaller compared to the egg rolls.
That's what Sergio said
at 8th Street. Serge is right. Serge is right.
The people, there's There's a lot of people that have lived out in the area for so long that they absolutely know what I was talking about when I posted that, which is why I feel like it triggered such a chain reaction of emotions.
I did not think it was going to get 75 comments deep yesterday.
Something that a lot of us thought. I just chose.
I didn't think our podcast was going to defer to Chinese food as soon as we started it today.
Yeah, remember that time we were recording and we saw that there was like 300 viewers at one time, and we kind of didn't know what to do.
Like we stopped. We stopped talking, and we were like, "Holy shit!"
We got stage fright on the podcast because we had like over 300 viewers on it at one point in time, and
it got.
We were just looking at the number,
and then remember it spiked to 700, and we're just looking at it, and my computer just collapsed.
Yeah, the computer dropped. The
computer was done.
The internet took us off the internet. They were like, "Nope, we got these guys. We're getting
first time in sports history, Chinese food is taking over, ladies and gentlemen."
We were in the what was it? The dark market, the dark web. We unlocked the dark web with our podcast, and we're booted off. And his computer crashed. We had to get a new system, so we're recording off of our phones.
We couldn't go live for the rest of the show. The computer.
Dude, we didn't know how to act. There was so many eyes at that point in time. I think we're better equipped and better prepared for it right now.
Bro, that was 700 people at one time live. First time ever. We were like, oh my gosh. It's happening. Oh my God, it's happening, people. Don't panic. It's happening.
That shit was crazy. Yeah, it really felt like I had a whole dialogue and everything that we were about to run down because
we were talking about sports movies.
We're talking to you guys. Movies. Like we're talking to you guys. We're talking to the same group of people that we talk sports to all the time, and then all of a sudden that day it wasn't just you guys. It was, like 280 to 85 other eyes that I don't know who they were. To this day, I have no idea.
Me either.
No idea whatsoever. But I just kind of just looked. I was like, "Oh shit! Like we're live, pal. We're actually doing a podcast." Do a Guy Ferrari style sports TV food series, Violence Best Chinese Food. I was thinking of doing.
We should do what Dave Portnoy does with pizza. We do it with Chinese food.
There's definitely some good pizza spots in both. The
rule is one bite of the chicken, a scoop of rice, and you make your decision. Just like his pizza is one bite, and you rate it. We're gonna tape it live. We're gonna make it.
I'm gonna need to make my judgment after another bite. At one point, I'm not
just like talking. He does when he's been like that one slice, and he's like,
"I'm just fucking eating pizza on the podcast. I'm not even talking."
I watched one the other day where he's eating it, and as he's eating it, the guy comes out and goes, "That's your camera?" He goes, "Yeah, you got to go." He goes, "Are you kidding me?" And you hear in the background, like, "Do you realize who that is? He could get you more good business." He goes, "It's all right. This pizza's like a 3. It's cold."
As I'm sitting here watching Guy Grocery Games, that's basically a ripoff of Supermarket Sweep. All of us who are old enough to remember in the 90s what Supermarket Sweep was, you had to pack your cart with things you needed, a certain amount. You had the guest host in the front. They had the weight for the carts, and you get the big ginormous check that they bring you when you win. Who knows how troublesome that must have been to be able to finally cash that check and actually have that money. Like you fly out there in the mid-90s.
I used to tell my mom, I said, why can't they do that with Toys R Us? Like, I would love to have one cart and just running around up and down them aisles.
That would have been an insane show. That would have been a cool Nickelodeon show for them to be able to do.
Yeah.
Just go into a toy store and just absolutely.
The Guy Ferrari grocery game is funny because you got to buy everything and then you gotta cook with it, don't you?
I think so. I'm pretty sure you do. I'm trying to find. So we're on the On the Money Sports page right now?
We should be.
Okay.
I think it should be streaming off all 3.
I shared it. So I'm just trying to. Oh, you know what it is? There's like actual comments and then there's comments in the live. So that's what's throwing me off. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm stupid. It's been the bye week absolutely slowed down my reflexes. I've been playing MLB The Show and Fortnite and Madden franchise mode. About to make my online debut slowly but surely.
What up, Paul Taylor? What's going on, buddy?
Have my gamer tag. What up? What's going on, Paul? That shit you shared earlier was funny as hell. the Korean reaction to the Buffalo Bills misfield.
Oh!
That shit was freaking funny, bro. It was on that same tier as the double doink by the Chicago Bears from the Spanish announcers. It was on that because it made me laugh the same way. And you automatically pan over to the head coach who has no control over any of this and just watched his team get unceremoniously eliminated from the postseason.
Andrew just told Chris he's going to report him to the administrators.
Okay, people, back to sports.
Yo, Paul, you were right about that. When I was thinking about that, that video I posted of the Dungeon of Doom versus Hulk Hogan and the gang at Fall Brawl, there really was no big like amazing heels in the mid-90s. If you really think about it.
The Giant was a big heel that they absolutely destroyed by throwing him off a building and bringing him back that night. The Giant was the big super heel of the 90s, or could have been.
Why wasn't Hulk Hogan charged with murder?
He wasn't charged with anything. He lost the title. He ended up losing the title because he got double bear hugged by the Giant and the Yeti. And so Hulk Hogan did not get charged with attempted murder that night. He escaped.
Who had the worst heel in the 90s? Adam Bomb. I met Adam Bomb at Cumberland Regional.
Worst heel in the 90s. I mean, when you go back, that's decades worth of content as far as podcasts go.
King Mabel.
Because the way they pushed him.
Oh.
And worst mega heel, because that's a good one.
We talk about Diesel's run being so lackluster. Look at the freaking guys he had to wrestle. Like, what the hell?
Psycho Sid when there was no softball. King Mabel, who actually got the SummerSlam main event.
Yo.
Shawn Michaels once during his championship run. Bret Hart in 2 DQs. Bulldog, which was a disaster.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah. Because
Bam Bam Bigelow.
He went against Sid twice. He went against Bam Bam. John Pierre Levesque. No, not Pierre.
The Pirate?
The Pirate. Whoever the Pirate was.
The Pirate!
Yeah, the Pirate. It's Vader time. See, and Vader got to the company in January of 96.
He was out of shape. He wasn't Vader of WCW.
But Kevin Nash was about to be out of the company a few months later, so you never got the Diesel Vader showdown. And on top of that, the Clique was anti-Vader, so they were, messing with him because he's coming in, the Rocky Mountain Monster. He's got the WCW stench. He was a top guy, a champion coming into their, the Clique's world. So
Vader was already heavier. He wasn't as agile and fast like he was in his early, that 92, 93, 94 run of his.
Yeah. I think the Vader drop-off started in 95.
Correction, Shawn was anti-Vader.
Yeah, you're right.
He yelled at him at SummerSlam and said, "You stupid idiot!"
And the other guys kind of just did whatever Shawn said because he was the only guy that could say and do the things that he said and did. So they were just like, look
what happened to Triple H. He had to go play in a hog pen.
Yeah, with scratches on his back. He ended up catching an infection from that shit because he was in the hog pen match with the hog farmer.
Oh,
that was
WWF 95 and WCW 95 were terrible.
Equally bad.
When you sit back and you look at it, 95 was terrible.
It was some of the most cartoony shit.
Where 1994 WWF was amazing. I thought 94 WWF was a very good year.
It was the best year.
It was a bounce back year from the Hogan era.
Yeah, the post Hogan era. That was 94 was the best year. They said they were going younger, but they were also doing main events with Roddy Piper and Jerry the King Lawler. So you were getting a mix of a lot of different shit during that time period. You were definitely getting a nice variation of entertainment because you realize at that young age, I realized that a lot of wrestlers,
a ton of faces and no heels to counter. You had no believable monster heel.
No. They didn't turn anybody. They should have turned a couple of guys, and they didn't do it. They had the Shawn babyface turn. Bret was a face. Undertaker was a face. Diesel was a face, and nobody wanted it. Razor Ramon was a face.
Goldust was wild. That's true, Jason. He was.
It was pretty insane.
He was ahead of his time.
He was definitely pushing a lot of boundaries that at the time
when he came out with the heart with Razor's name on it.
Yeah,
I was like, oh. I was like, what are we doing?
Sid Justice was the best WWE had. Sid was my boy, bro. Like he gets a lot of slack.
Yo, remember he powerbombed Shawn Michaels like 5 times the night after WrestleMania?
Look what he did for the $1 million.
You don't need me!
Look what he did for the $1 million corporation, bro. He put those guys over the top. The $1 million corporation is just the WWF's Dungeon of Doom, when you really think about it. They were the Dungeon of Doom, and he was their giant.
Tatanka, Nikolai Volkov.
What are those guys doing?
Bam, IRS, King Kong Bundy.
What was their goal? What was Ted DiBiase's goal with that stable? Nothing.
I don't know. None of them ever won belts.
Dungeon of Doom had no goals, and neither did the $1 million corporation.
Both groups never won belts.
And by the time Steve Austin came along, there was no real $1 million corporation. It was just DiBiase with Steve and the belt. They had disbanded.
Yeah.
Tatanka, give me a break, bro. Give me a break. You know, we know who 123 Kid ended up being. But
Dungeon of Doom was a good name. It's just Shark Attack,
Dungeon of Doom,
Zodiac.
When you break down the list, the Renegade, right?
The Taskmaster.
The Taskmaster's dad.
Kamala,
who they brought back. Booty Man.
And then you had Ming.
Zodiac. Ming, who could kill all those guys.
Yeah, Ming was the only believable threat.
He was always a believable threat. He had no business hanging out with those guys. Like, he could do so many better things than to deal with those jokers and put yourself in a cage match with Macho Man and Hogan and like 50 of you guys, and you guys lose.
The alliance to end Hulkamania.
That's when the 4 Horsemen and them were having dinner together. They were having their dinner parties on the set and shit.
Ming was taking it.
None of this stuff was stuff that we had planned on talking about. The podcast itself has fallen off of the rails.
Yeah.
In the first 60 seconds of it. We will not apologize because it's good content nonetheless. You know, these are the hard-hitting issues that we will be discussing at length, hopefully on further podcasts.
I mean, we're thinking about doing a watch-along, watching just something that we've never really watched.
That's right. It is Royal Rumble week. In honor of that, we started talking some wrestling.
My favorite pay-per-view.
I was just telling him, and as I said in the comment earlier today, that I grew up being a big SummerSlam kid. I was always excited for SummerSlam. I actually was one of those kids that look forward to the King of the Ring, too. I like the King of the Ring.
The King of the Ring was good.
I liked summertime. I liked the summertime pay-per-views, and I would get excited for certain.
King of the Ring let you know, like, school's out and, like, let's go.
Yeah, I was very fond of the time period. So, and I would like the King of the Ring, like, you know, in my, you know, Vince tournament, bro. I love the tournaments. I was all about the tournaments. I wanted to know who was going to be the Iron Man to get through and win the trophy, the belt, whatever it was. I was a mark for the tournaments at that point in time. WrestleMania, of course. But as I got older, I grew to be able to appreciate the Royal Rumble for what it is. And going back, watching older Rumbles. Maybe I didn't have the attention span for an hour-long match compared to how I do now. I was excited for those. I'm excited to watch the replay of this week's Rumble. Unfortunately, I have to work Saturday night, so got no choice but to watch the replay once I get home. King of the Ring and Survivor Series.
Survivor
Series.
As a kid, I love Mania and I love SummerSlam. As an adult, I love the Royal Rumble. Like, you appreciate it more because you know what's about to take place.
You have a favorite Royal Rumble?
I have a couple. I have one from my childhood, 1991. I love 91 Royal Rumble. I think it gets a lot of bad flap.
All right, because Hogan wins? Hogan must pose?
Hogan must pose, baby.
Who was it, the pundits? Is that what you said that day? Remember when I asked you, I was like, yo, who is saying these things about the Steelers? And you were like, the pundits. I was like, you were just dropping.
Hogan must pose.
You were dropping bombs in the group chat. I was like, where is this shit coming from? Like, who antagonized this man? Lo and behold, it was the pundits.
Hogan must pose. You had the Rockers versus Orient Express, which was a really good match.
I love 92, bro. 92 is in my favorites category.
I like the whole Warrior Sergeant Slaughter match for the dynamic of Macho Man. Like I like that dynamic of it. I thought it was stupid that Sergeant Slaughter after Warrior got hit in the head with the scepter, Slaughter should just pin them. I'm still trying to figure out 30 years later, like, why did you elbow drop him?
They did an amazing job generating heat for his character to where he was actually getting legitimate death threats.
Yeah.
For such a lousy payoff at the end of that.
He should just pin them
once again. That's what that, you win the belt at Rumble, you go into Mania. We don't get Warrior versus Hogan Part 2. And, nice little add-on to have Macho Man be part of the reason why he loses the title. But yeah, that was rough.
Is the greatest day in my life.
With no internet at the time, talking about 1991, I can imagine the wrestling marks going absolutely crazy because their Ultimate Warrior lost.
Yeah.
Like they
I was shocked. I was like this. In the back of my mind, at 7 years old, I'm going, Sergeant Slaughter really won?
Sergeant Slaughter. A man that you overlooked and had no interest in for years, undercard for years and years, comes in and wins the belt at the Royal Rumble and pledges his allegiance to the Middle East and is with the Sheik and he's bashing America and burning the American flag on live TV and getting death threats for it.
So like I love 91 because it's the height of my fandom as a kid. 1994 I also love. I think the 94 Rumble is one of the most underrated Rumbles. You could tell they were going through a transition.
Yeah, they were trying to find that guy. It was definitely Nuclear Heat. They were trying to find Sergeant Slaughter in real life.
The Razor Ramon IRS match wasn't the greatest thing to look, but it served its purpose of getting over the Shawn Michaels feud. By having Michaels come out, you think, that. Like the whole theatrics of The Undertaker, where you think The Undertaker's dead, and then he rises out of the screen with the whole...
When he floats up to the sky?
Yeah,
94 was actually a pretty fun...
And the actual Rumble was really good.
The Luger Bret Hart thing, where the fans basically
the coming out of Diesel.
Yeah.
Where he eliminated 8 heads like it was nothing.
Where they realized he could be,
And we all know, 94, the famous, that's why I kicked your leg out of your leg.
Owen Hart turning on his brother. You had Yoko and Undertaker in the casket match.
It's a good pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Very good pay-per-view.
See, that's why I think that we would immensely enjoy going
96
back and doing some watch-alongs.
96 Rumble's good, too. Brett versus Taker.
I'm a little bit older. I'm very fond of 1996.
Razor versus Goldust. I was mad as hell.
If you take the first part of WWF 96 and the back end of WCW 96, you have the perfect year. Because you got the NWO aspect of the late 96 in WCW, and WWF late 96 was just dreadful.
But I can't think of a Rumble that I'm fond of in the new... after 2002, 2003.
05 with Batista.
05 wasn't bad.
The one with Michaels and Undertaker, 07.
That was good.
That's nothing else really rings a bell or is worth remembering pretty much. So much deceit.
But yeah, we were just talking before we got on the show. We were watching a clip of Kerry Von Erich beating Ric Flair for the World's Heavyweight Championship. And I told him, I was like, yo, we should actually just watch this particular event from beginning to end as a watch along. I've never seen that event from beginning to end because that happened in 85, 86. Dude, I'm 2 or 3 years old. So I'm thinking about watching that whole event with him and just going through it, seeing the match cards, seeing the heat that some of these guys got. I think it would be pretty cool to watch some old school shit that we haven't seen together, probably ever, even by ourselves, and going over it. That would be hot.
Old school promos, because I have the, I got the network. It's just a lot of stuff that
I would probably
that would be old stuff that I remember.
That would probably be a YouTube exclusive.
Patreon.
That's a YouTube exclusive.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think
because Facebook will kick us off quick.
I haven't watched. I haven't given a lot of the 80s stuff a chance, But I think there would be the perfect opportunity watching it along with you, comparing and contrasting, looking at some of these characters and some of these promos and breaking it down. That should be highly, highly entertaining.
Oh, Paul, you want to be a part of the watch along?
Dude.
The sports lounge, the OTMS VIP lounge got the room.
The watch along wrestling podcast. Like
we could even be in the other room, and I could hook it up to where we're comfortable watching this.
We dabble a lot. We are actually, believe it or not, with football being over, yes, it's something that makes us all sad, but we are entering probably the most creative realm of the On the Money podcast year, when we don't have football dominating the stream the entire time, and we're able to take a step back and give you a little basketball, some baseball, some nostalgia mania, and roll it all up into one nice, smoothly hitting episode that can enhance your senses and provide you with the entertainment and the knowledge that you need to go forward with your week. That being said,
what a weekend.
Yeah. That being said, LA Knight is going to get Superman punched out of his shoes. I say that to say this. LA Knight.
I think you're right about the whole stack thing.
And Roman Reigns is going to stack all three of these guys together. And it's going to be a 1, 2, 3. And everybody's going to go like this at the end of the match to acknowledge the tribal chief. Just like The Rock is going to have to acknowledge the tribal chief. That's what's going to happen. Could have been you and me. Could have been you and me. But you ruined it. Who'd you end up? You ended up losing to Slick, right?
Yeah, in the first round. And the worst part is, it would have been me.
The worst part is you lost.
I chose not to start Sam Laporta like an idiot.
And you didn't start Sam Laporta, and my, oh my, what a late season threat that man has been. I was upset because he didn't get me my anytime touchdown this past week, but he was getting every other catch under the sun. Like, he was catching everything but the touchdown this past week. So that was very frustrating. As promised, before we go forward, for those of you with the benefit of flash photography, I will be doing a 5-second pose. Shout out to Edge and Christian for giving me the idea with the trophy. Copies of the freeze frame will be autographed by myself to be able to hand off to my league mates who I couldn't be here today without them. So 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We will have more of those. We will have more freeze frame opportunities through the extent of this episode as the years come. Hopefully more trophies, more championships. A photo to all the peasants. All the Money Sports. Shout out to the Champions Dynasty League. Feels good to be the man. Feels good to be the man.
That's yeah, I'm right there, Chris.
There's the pose, the freeze frame. Take it home. Hopefully somebody screenshot that. Send it to me if you did. Because that right there is worth its weight in gold. I'll tell you right now. That is going to be my cover photo for my actual.
How many Shroot bucks is that photo worth?
Shroot bucks. Well, we go by Drew bucks. That's the only currency that matters. That's the only currency that matters.
So how many Drew bucks?
Based on your credit stature with how many On the Money Sports fan forum points you have, there's a combination of your amount of points with the amount of Drew bucks that you have and the percentages and ratios of Drew bucks to On the Money Sports forum points. It's too complicated to explain right now, so I'm not going to delve into that any further. That is for the On the Money Sports analytics department to wrap their heads around. Which is basically me and Drew. We just went and we clicked on people's names and saw how many points they had. And we're like, oh man, you gotta get your points up. That's when we realized we started that donation program to donate points to you, because as you know, co-founder of the Money Sports Fan Forum, you had like 147.
Created a forum. I had nothing.
I was like, oh, this guy doesn't even comment in the forum. Like, what the hell is going on? That shit was absurd. But yeah, man. Oh, good times. Championships to be decided. That's why I felt like it was good to remind everybody what these teams are playing for. With this championship right here, I now have just as many Super Bowls as the Philadelphia Eagles. And actually, no, I have one more Super Bowl than the Philadelphia Eagles, and I have just as many World Series as the Philadelphia Phillies. So read it and weep. I'll be back same time, same place next year.
You have more Super Bowls than Josh Allen.
I have more Super Bowls than Josh Allen. I have 3 Super Bowl losses than Josh Allen. 3 more of them, but he hasn't even sniffed a Super Bowl yet. And I don't know how much closer they will be to a Super Bowl after yet another epic, disastrous, ugly, unfortunate, sad, pathetic, poor, lackluster, demoralizing loss as the one that they experienced once again at the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs.
They got what they wanted, right?
Just when we thought we had this team figured out, they throw another curveball and take another heartbreaking loss in Buffalo. Wide right, flashes of the Super Bowl against the New York Football Giants. People are debating what was the reason why the Bills lost. There was a lot of things that they could have done better, but not for nothing. The fact that he misses that kick, that's truly what ices the game. He's hoodie and Titans hat. It's just sad. Oh, cut me a break, dude. Cut me a break. You know what will be sad is the highlight reel of what the Packers did to you guys, and then parlaying that highlight reel with what Spencer Strider said about the fans and kicking them out of the stadium. Your pitcher doesn't even want you at the game. He doesn't even want to see you guys out there. Get rid of him. Fans, get rid of him. It was a great game that came down to a kick. It was a decent game. There was a Stephon Diggs drop pass. There was the James Cook. there was the James Cook drop pass that would have been a touchdown. There was a bullshit pass interference call. So there was a lot of things that contributed to it, but Tyler Bass from 44 yards out, wide right, was just something that made my jaw drop as I sat in my living room.
Somebody was talking about all the people that Josh Allen has beaten in the playoffs. Old Man Rivers.
Nobody's. Old Man Rivers retirement.
Lamar Jackson left the third quarter with a concussion.
He was hurt.
Mac Jones. Skylar Thompson.
Which was probably the best. Like, Skylar Thompson gave him, like,
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. That's a star-studded list right there. A who's who. So he's, he hasn't beaten anybody special in the postseason. When you talk about this football team, people who want Sean McDermott's head on a silver platter, like, you got to chill, bro. Like, a lot of the things that went wrong in that football game, like, how much can you – you know what I can blame on him? I can blame the 4th down fake punt when they give it to DeMar Hamlin, I guess, to give him his moment, and he falls short about 4 yards. That upset me. Because that's when I said to myself, you guys don't get it. Like, you don't get it. You don't get how much this game means to you guys. In front of your home crowd, you're really going to waste a 4th down play to go for it and do that. Just punt the ball.
Yeah.
Just punt the ball. And credit to them, they stopped them after, but they do nothing with the football after that. They punt it right back.
That was crazy. Well, listen, everybody talks about the script. He's throwing the ball to, on 3rd down to his feet. Well, let me break this shit down too.
He got hit.
If the script was in, why didn't Kansas City just hand the ball off to Pacheco one more time straight up the middle? Instead, they did some razzle-dazzle shit.
Did nobody see when the Chiefs' defensive line pushed his own offensive lineman into him, Josh Allen?
How about the Chiefs player trying to be a hero and scoop up Josh Allen's fumble and run with it instead of just falling on it? You're at the 50-yard line.
Trying to have that moment, dog.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Trying to have that moment.
Falling on the ball and securing the ball and giving it back to Patrick Mahomes is a bigger moment.
And Chris, my girlfriend mentioned that, like the fact that they gave him that play, but we have not seen DeMar Hamlin on the field whatsoever this year, which shouldn't, like, you should be disqualified from the comeback player of the year conversation.
Bro, he only had 17 snaps this year. You know that, right?
And they bring him in ice cold. You want him to do this. He hasn't done anything all year. You want him to do this one thing at the most crucial moment in the most crucial game of the year, of your season, in front of your home fans against the team more than any other team that you have to beat. You have to beat this team. The booking of your story is you can't beat Kansas City. You have to get this monkey off of your back in order to move forward. Like, and they just found another way to lose it. And I don't think Sean McDermott deserves to get fired. I think that
Josh Allen was doing everything right up until that last drive.
There's too much money invested in this team.
You've been checking down the whole way through, and then you start playing brave hero ball.
There's too much money invested in this team to be calling in a rebuild. If anything, it's going to be a retool, and they're going to have to figure out what to do moving forward. Stephon Diggs has 4 years left on his contract. Rumor and innuendo is that he is going to stay in place with Buffalo as they figure this thing out. But I don't know what else we can say about this football team.
I think it's over
at this point in time. You know, like,
I don't know how you can sit back and say, "Oh, they're going to do it next year." We've been saying that shit for the last 3 years.
Bills fans say that every single year.
How's your boy feel?
My boy was distraught. His close friend, who I'm also in a couple of leagues with, one of our buddies.
Oh, and don't forget, the Buffalo Bills
not said a word for
our $50 million in negative money.
He was absolutely distraught by the loss, but it was also one of those things where, as a Bills fan, you see certain moments in that game, and for him, I'm sure that, like, when he saw Stephon Diggs drop the ball, when he saw James Cook drop the ball, like, there's certain things you see as a fan where you say to yourself, like, here we go again. Like, it's happening. Oh my gosh, it's happening. Like, what do I do? What do I go? Do I go get myself a drink? Do I go use the bathroom? Do I have to not watch this next sequence of plays in order for my team to get their shit together because they are doing it again? And the problem is, we're talking about the team that should have already been playing in a Super Bowl 1 out of the last 3 years, lost 4 Super Bowls straight to begin with. I told him, and he didn't really like it, but I saw him the day after the Bills lost, and I told him, yo, the Bills are just the Titans on steroids. We're the same person. It's just everybody expects more from you guys. He did not take well to that. But the reality of the situation is that, guess what? I can't pick the Bills to go to the Super Bowl next year.
It's Allen that couldn't get it done, QB. He's Phillip Rivers.
At this point in time, he is that quarterback that is not going to Super Bowl.
Especially if Lamar Jackson wins a Super Bowl this year, it'll now be, Lamar Jackson got it after him.
Mahomes lives at the Super Bowl. So if Lamar Jackson gets his name into Super Bowl conversation,
he did something
Josh Allen.
Yeah, he did something what Allen couldn't do. Beat a Mahomes-led Chiefs team.
For people who are criticizing Lamar Jackson still to this day, why don't you start shedding some light on the Josh Allen complex in that situation? Because they're pretty similar as far as how they play.
Exactly.
From what
I
heard,
stop
Josh
comparing Josh Allen to Ben Roethlisberger.
Lamar Jackson's still alive. Josh Allen is not. Lamar Jackson has a chance to get further than Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson today has gotten further than Josh Allen has.
Yeah.
Right? Because Josh Allen hasn't gotten to the AFC title league. Second round exit.
No, yeah, he did.
Did he? Okay, so he equaled.
Hold on, timeout.
Was it? I don't think it was.
No, I don't think it was it. Yeah, he did. The 1 year, the AFC, the first year where Diggs stayed on the field and watched the
Was that the AFC Championship?
Yeah.
All right, so he matched what.
Then the year after was the 13-second debacle.
Okay. You're right. So you've got the matchup that I'm looking forward to seeing. It might not have been on everybody's.
Joe Burrow did more than what Josh Allen's done.
Well, yeah, he went to the Super Bowl. He went to the Super Bowl. He went to multiple AFC title games. He is Patrick Mahomes' biggest threat right now. Like, up until this point.
Lamar Jackson.
Well, Lamar has to win. Lamar.
Let me tell you,
I think
I'm
Mahomes is
very
1-0 against
interested.
Lamar, right? In the playoffs? Pat has one. They only played one
He
time.
only played one, yeah.
So
I'm very interested to see how Kansas City is going to play Lamar Jackson.
it's going to be intriguing.
It's going to be very intriguing.
You know you're going to try to use
This
some
is
of
a
the
different
things,
animal, bro.
You're going to try to use some of the things that worked last week, of course. But I think that if anything, right now, with the Ravens being healthier than the Bills were heading into this game, Lamar has more options as far as pass catchers.
And this is the best
done.
defense Lamar's had. And think about me saying that. This is the best defense he's had since being the starting quarterback, and he's had nothing but good defenses since being a quarterback.
It's the best offense he's been a part of.
And that too. Like, it's the most balanced team they've had.
And the ways they've been winning football games through the entirety of the year has been by playing balanced football. They haven't had to come out of their comfort. They haven't had to do any of that. The Ravens have been one of the least rattled teams out of all the teams that I've seen this year. Yeah, they had 3 losses. So what?
And if they win, they're going to win the Super Bowl because he's just ridiculous against NFC teams.
Well, we already saw how he handled the 49ers. So
and he handled the Lions.
If the 49ers, the Lions, they both got absolutely destroyed. So I know that in the back of their minds, they're
Paul, I agree. But that's why I've been asking people at work, and I'll ask you now, how many of those teams last year who said, we're good, we're not interested in Lamar because they didn't want to give up 2 first-round picks, how stupid do you think they feel now?
Yeah, I mean, look at
hey, Atlanta, you still confident about Desmond Ridder?
He is not. Like, whoever is taking that head coaching job in Atlanta,
Carolina,
has to understand you
still comfortable with Bryce Young?
You do not have a quarterback out there. And Bryce Young, Carolina has a quarterback with no team. Like, these Swiss cheese football teams
Raiders
right now.
Y'all went after Garoppolo instead. You still comfortable with what you got there? You don't have a quarterback.
O'Connell?
So think about that. Lamar Jackson would have changed the trajectory of the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons would have won their division and probably would have made the NFC Championship game if Lamar Jackson was their quarterback. And I know, they would never pick Bijan. Who cares? He'd have still made Tyler Algier look like an amazing running back. Cordell Patterson would have still had a great year.
The Falcons didn't need to draft Bijan Robinson. And if I knew Falcons fans, I'm sure some of them would agree with me. Not everybody's going to agree, but that's life. But at the end of the day, the Atlanta Falcons did not have to use the 8th overall pick on another running back when they had a serviceable running back and they still don't have a quarterback. They chose to do that. We saw it here together when they drafted Bijan. And it just wasn't that was also something that wasn't on people's bingo card. And Bijan, he's great. He's magnificent. Absolutely fantastic. He's not in the playoffs right now. Jahmyr Gibbs is. Because Jahmyr Gibbs has a quarterback that can win playoff games. Jahmyr Gibbs has a quarterback that can win enough regular season games to get into the dance. The Falcons still don't have that. And until they find that, I mean, at this point in time, they're trying to figure out who their next head coach is going to be. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done as far as the Atlanta Falcons. But with their choices to this point, I do believe that they have set themselves back a couple of years. With not having a quarterback, going for another running back, new head coach coming in now to implement his system. Vrabel is going to be getting another interview with them. And then he's going to be flying out to Carolina to interview with them and talk to the Panthers. But it's just so new this, new that, new this. Like, that's not even in the NFC South, because I'm not expecting the NFC South to be a dumpster fire like it's been. Even in the NFC South, there's too much work to be done in Atlanta. The Carolina Panthers are even further removed from contention. So
Carolina's quarterback got 2 guys from the corner of Kensington as wide receivers, somehow got 2 wins. I guess maybe it's too early to write off Bryce Young.
Bro, the Panthers are just a bunch of guys. Just a bunch of guys.
That's how I don't understand how, and they don't have a number 1 pick. They gave it up.
They gave up the number 1 pick with his primary wide receiver in the trade.
That was wild. If you knew you were drafting a young quarterback, why would you have not found the way to not include him in?
He would have looked a little better with DJ Moore there, I believe.
I do too.
Again, like with Vrabel going to interview with this team, like, bro, you're going into a mess. Like you're about to if you take this head coaching job, have a sophomore quarterback with no protection, no true nothing. You have no true nothing. They're good.
I wouldn't want to coach there.
They're good against the pass, and that's all you can really say.
That owner is volatile.
The owner made a fool of himself. Like he's throwing whiskey on people, throwing warm bourbon on people during football games. It's hard enough for them to be able to sell tickets. I can't imagine what the prices are out there. They're not making it back.
Hey, Will,
what they're losing.
You might be able to get some season tickets now, Will.
Yeah, the Atlanta job is definitely more desirable, but it comes with its own problems as well. We're about to have multiple losing coaching jobs in his resume.
I wouldn't go to Carolina if I were him. Hell, if Carolina is the only team that offers him a deal, then I'm sitting out coaching for a year.
Well, I mean, like, what's he going to –
no way.
If he goes to a spot, who's he going to hire as his coordinators, bro? Because not for nothing, the coordinators have been an issue with our team for a couple years. Like, are you going to bring in legitimate veterans, or are you just going to promote your boys? Are you bringing Shane Bowen and those guys? Like, nothing against Shane. He did good in certain aspects, but, like, there's reasons why he's not where he is.
All the Eagles coordinators?
They were actually doing a press conference today. Sirianni and Lori,
my God, like,
we're doing a press conference today where they were going to come out. I don't know if they were going to like hold hands or whatever the case is, or
bro,
it
sounds like he has no control of nothing.
A State of the Union. Everything's fine.
I feel bad
Everything's
for
fine.
him.
Like, I'm still the coach.
I legit feel bad for him.
Well, they didn't fire Sirianni. He's coming back. A lot of Eagles fans don't want him back.
If Cliff Kingsbury gets the OC job, Sirianni's going to be on a short leash because they'll just give the job to Cliff Kingsbury since he has prior head coaching experience. That's just my belief.
That would be in part the reason why they bring him in, you mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, so that they can have, like...
So they can have the guy waiting in case they got to fire... Say the Eagles start all slow, and boom, he's gone.
Can't get too buddy-buddy with him, dog. He's going to take your job.
I can say it.
He is more suited for the job. Like, people didn't understand when I said that Sirianni was in over his head when he first got hired. Like,
remember this?
People said I was just hating.
We're gonna be physical.
He doesn't know what he's doing out there, and he was riding a hot hand when they went to the Super Bowl, and he couldn't adjust when he finally got to the Super Bowl. And next season,
the Falcons interviewed Vrabel today.
I'm not going to say the Eagles are going to be the worst team next year. I think we kind of just need to wait and see what this product is actually going to look like next year. You know, like, because I don't know. Because if we get more of what we saw in the last 6 to 7 weeks of the season, that team ain't making the playoffs on the NFC side. And they just won't be in the mix if we get any more of that, because that shit was terrible, which will major step back next year. I sense it too. That's kind of what I'm leading to. I feel like they are going to take a step back. I think that it's
Paul's an Eagles fan telling you this.
I think that it's going to shine the light brighter in a negative way on Jalen Hurts and his ability to be able to, you know, like, they ended the season in a slump. Now, let's say next year they get into a funk at the beginning of the year. How is he going to be able to respond? Are we going to get more riddles and fortune cookie quotes, or are we going to get actual, like, leadership on the field that translates into wins? Because this is football. You only get 17 weeks. All we care about is wins. We don't care about excuses. You got 17 weeks. You get 1 week wrong, you got to come back strong the following week, because that window of opportunity shuts a lot faster than any other window in any other sport. There's no makeup day the next day. There's wins, there's losses. And for a team to start out 10-1 and go out, I was going to say go out with a bang, but it would be the opposite of a bang. Go out with a whimper the way that they did. For anybody expecting sweeping changes, for as much as we want things to change, sometimes they shall remain the same. And with the same guy in the same spot as a head coach, Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see if there's anything new.
They bring in Kingsbury. You have a qualified head coach that is on the roster already, pretty much. And if they need to pull the trigger on getting rid of Sirianni, they would feel a lot better doing it knowing that there is a capable adult in the room.
Yeah.
We lost a center and team captain. Hurts is going to have to fill that void. I don't know if he can.
There's talks that he's a freaking diva, guys.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked.
That he's had diva attitude now. That one of the players was talking about how he was nervous to talk to him.
I think what does he go into the locker room like Taz and just surround himself with his Taz group? Put his towel over his head? Like, why? Why can't people approach you? Why can't people approach you? Are you part of the issue
I don't know,
AJ Brown was talking about?
It also says that Vic Fangio is going to be their next DC, but they have to interview minority candidates to suffice the Rooney Rule before they can announce that they're going to bring Fangio in.
I mean, you got look. Whoever you bring in, you've got what you need up front with your front seven. You've always had that. I don't know what you're going to do about that secondary because
Darius Slay's old. He's getting burned. Bradbury looks like he was a fluke.
That coverage unit is bottom five in football.
Fletcher, you can't bring Fletcher Cox back, and honestly, they shouldn't even bring Brandon Graham back.
Yeah, and that's another thing, the wear and tear. Some of these key players on the defensive side are getting older now, so it's not going to be as strong of a I thought the Eagles' defense for fantasy football was going to be a hit. I dropped those guys by week 3 or week 4.
Yeah, you did.
They were getting killed out there.
Yes, you did.
I need roster space, and I don't have time. I don't have roster space for defenses that can't make stops. So, when you got every quarterback in the league airing it out on you, and you're losing games to the New York Jets because you don't know who you are as far as an identity on the field goes. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what to tell you.
So there's a lot of coaching news. It's going to get even more intense once these teams right here get eliminated. Whoever gets eliminated this weekend, you got
more coaching opportunities.
The first game this weekend is Chiefs Ravens. We know how that's going to be a fireworks.
It's going to be good.
The Kansas City Chiefs offense is finally moving the ball. Is it because the Bills defenders were hurt?
That was their best offensive output. Bills only had 3 healthy linebackers for that football game. But the Chiefs offense looked like I guess it was supposed to look, or what we thought it could look like throughout. What they didn't look like all season, they looked like during the divisional round. With the Bills, again, plenty of opportunities to close the game out. They're not. The Bills are not closers. The Bills are not. They were never closers. They can't close anything. The Chiefs, flaws and all, the Chiefs are closers.
Yeah.
So that's just the reality of the situation.
The Chiefs defense, which is really good, is going against the Ravens offense, which is really good. You got the Chiefs offense that's good going against the Ravens defense. This game is going to be a battle. It's going to be whoever blinks first. It's going to be whoever's turning the ball over. It's if Lamar runs 2 big plays, that could change the trajectory of that whole game. If Mahomes stays on the field, it just keeps completing passes and scoring touchdowns. If MVS keeps holding on to the ball like he did the last week.
Well, he had the game of his life this past week. Biggest playoff game I could remember.
If Travis Kelce, who looks like he's finally healthy, is really healthy, it's a problem. Right now, I'm still leaning towards Baltimore.
That's your pick.
I'm leaning towards Baltimore to win.
Yeah.
However, I still have a chance for my preseason prediction to be in the Super Bowl,
which was Lions
versus Chiefs.
So your Super Bowl preseason prediction is alive and well right now. If it happens, you'll look like a genius.
No, I won't. I should have put money down on it before the year started.
Well, as far as putting money down,
I'm gonna do it next year. And watch me not have that kind of luck, but hey, I'm gonna do that from now on. Andy Reid's just an excellent coach. That's all it comes down to. And I firmly believe if the Chiefs are to win this Sunday and win the Super Bowl, I firmly believe Andy Reid's going to retire.
Yeah, they're built for the playoffs for sure. Andy Reid retiring could be an interesting possibility to talk about the offseason with so many coaches that are available and so many coaching vacancies. So that would be interesting.
Dallas is blowing out Phoenix right now.
As far as wagers go, of course, I did a couple of playoff brackets when the playoffs first started. I did a couple more after my wild card round went to shit. And out of that, I did 2 from the divisional round forward, and all the teams that I picked in one of my brackets survived. One bracket had the Bills winning. One bracket I picked the Chiefs to win.
You win any money?
At the moment, I'm up from I believe it's $3 to $15 for getting the first week correct. My next picks are the Ravens winning this week and the 49ers winning, and then the Baltimore Ravens ultimately beating the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl pick. So if those 3 things happen, then I'll win a nice chunk of change from a $3 bet. But it has to happen though. So like now I'm confident in Baltimore, but now it's this question of like, damn, like now I really need you guys to just be right. Like your first AFC title game for Baltimore, and hosting in Baltimore since the 70s when they were the Baltimore Colts.
Yeah, because every time they've gone to the Super Bowl, it's been on the road.
Yeah, because as the 1 seed, they get bounced.
Yeah, normally.
This year,
they went to Oakland and beat Oakland in 2000, and they went into New England and beat New England in 2012.
Yep. Yes, they did. Now they're at home in front of their home
Which
crowd.
They should have beat New England the year prior in 2011, but Justin Tucker missed the kick.
Chiefs always know how to transition into the playoffs. We're going to see how the Baltimore Ravens are able to transition. These 2 teams didn't play each other this year, did they?
Who?
Chiefs and Ravens
Not this
didn't
year.
play this year. So this will be the first matchup this season between these 2 teams. There's some familiarity there, but at the same time, it's not like how Chiefs and Bills, where they're destined every single year, they're destined to face off. You know what I mean? The Ravens throw a bit of a variable into the equation, and this is a Baltimore Ravens team that has been winning football games consistently throughout the season. And sometimes when you win every single week, you fall under the radar. Nobody's paying attention the same way. You know what I mean? Like the storylines of the Bills and the Eagles and 49ers, like the storylines of teams rebounding kind of took the headlines. Meanwhile, you have a Baltimore Ravens team that's had to deal with 2 years worth of injuries that are finally healthy, winning more games than they have in a couple years. And it just like they weren't the main story until like now here we are. You can't ignore them. Like they are hosting the AFC Championship game, and they have an opportunity to beat Patrick Mahomes to go to the Super Bowl.
Jonathan Ogden showing up. They got Ed Reed showing up, and they got Ray Lewis showing up as captains for the game.
It's going to be a big night. It's going to be a big day. It's going to be a big day.
I would say they should invite Joe Flacco, but you know.
Ravens are going to win mainly because of their many ways of run game and tough defense. Yeah, defense has been playing well. Everything they've been doing.
And Mark Andrews might be back.
You know, and I'm sorry, but Tucker ain't like Bass. Tucker ain't gonna see those opportunities and miss them. He's hitting 57-yarders like it's nothing. So,
last time I seen Tucker miss a playoff kick was that 2011 AFC Championship game. I really thought they were winning.
I think that the big question mark is around both these offenses and how they're going to perform against, top defenses, which the Chiefs and the Ravens both are. Like
how the Ravens defense comes out like last week, they should win. Sure.
Yeah, they were playing inspired football though. They didn't look like a team that had a week off when they came out
for the first time.
Like they were super.
Normally, when they come out of the bye week, they look bad.
They were super motivated and they were hitting hard, and they had the Texans on their heels, and Houston never recovered. No shame for Houston losing to the Baltimore Ravens.
Listen,
1 seed.
Great season.
So
you only won 4 games a year prior to win your division and win a playoff game.
You get eliminated the same week as the Bills.
That is a totally successful season
compared to Buffalo's failure.
They had no expectations coming into the season. CJ Stroud, nobody had high expectations for. They exceeded him. Yeah. Ryans exceeded him. I'm of the belief that Slowick, I know, he's in demand, but if I were him, I'd still stay another year as an OC.
I mean, and Green Bay.
Own your craft. And where Buffalo had all the expectations, and they floundered yet again.
Yeah. So it's amazing how you can get eliminated in the same weekend, divisional round weekend, but the expectation level is what makes it so much worse.
The kryptonite for the Texans in the playoffs is the Ravens. They always lose to the Ravens. Always.
They got their number. And also, this Houston Texans team still needs to learn how to win on the road. They're not that great traveling. They're good in Houston, but when you take them out of their home space, it's not the same. And we saw that for ourselves. They got absolutely obliterated. Detroit took care of business. San Francisco took care of business. And now here we are, Final Four. The consensus Super Bowl of Ravens versus 49ers may or may not happen. What are Detroit's chances of going into San Francisco and getting the W, getting their team to the
I would think they're at 65%.
Damn.
I would say that because I don't think Deebo Samuel's playing Sunday.
As of today, it's uncertain. He did not practice today.
And he will not practice tomorrow either.
So that's going to be something interesting to monitor heading into this big
When
matchup.
Deebo Samuel left that game Saturday night, the 49ers offense became bland.
Brock Purdy wasn't that good.
I'm starting to believe that Deebo's the key to that offense. Like, CMC's a very big portion of it, but I feel like Deebo's the X factor.
For a Brock Purdy offense,
He's the X
can
factor.
totally see it.
So if he doesn't play, that's a problem. Because then, honestly, if you're the Lions, your main goal is to shut that run down and pay attention to George Kittle. And if I'm the 49ers, if I'm a 49ers fan, which I know a couple, they won't admit it, but I would be a little scared about that run defense. Because Aaron Jones was just doing what he wanted. And now you're talking about a Jahmyr Gibbs and a David Montgomery that are two really good running backs.
Run game is going to be huge for Detroit if they want to.
If the Detroit Lions can run the football effectively, Jared Goff not turn the ball over, the Detroit Lions may get the upset. Amon-Ra St. Brown is hard to deal with. Oh, and don't look out now. Josh Reynolds is
He's
playing amazing.
Right, he's a freaking star. Hell, Craig Reynolds scored a touchdown
just like you got, I picked Josh Reynolds two touchdown score. The wrong Reynolds scored the second one. And don't look now. On one leg, Sam Laporta is still Sam Laporta.
Absolute beast.
The Lions are not a fluke. The Lions are going to run that division for the foreseeable future because all their talent is in their rookie deals. Yep. Amon St. Brown still got 2 more years left on his deal. Some of the defenders, these guys are locked.
Locked and loaded.
Minnesota's going to take a step back. Chicago, I don't know what Chicago's going to do. If Chicago ends up dealing Fields and going with Caleb Williams, they're going to be they're going to suck still. The Packers are the X factor because
they're literally the wild card.
Because you don't know, is this going to be Jordan Love from here on out, or was Jordan Love's stats the product of facing an easy back half schedule? You got to look at all those factors, whether anybody wants to admit it or not.
Listen.
Because when he faced top tier teams in the first half of the year, he wasn't looking so good. But when he got an easier schedule in the second half of the year, and he played out of his world.
I appreciate Jordan Love. I appreciate what the Packers did for me this year. I appreciate them helping me win a championship, helping me win a few $100s. But that fourth quarter meltdown.
Oh, it was terrible.
Was something that.
Where was he throwing that ball? Why were you throwing the ball across the field? You're taught that as a kid not to be doing that.
Because that's where, as much as we like to scrutinize and pinpoint where teams lost the game, that is where, in fact, the Packers lost the game, was the performance in the fourth quarter by Jordan Love, the turnovers.
He choked.
And the fact that in the big moment with the bright lights, he
fell
short. Kudos to him. Again, no real shame in losing to San Francisco in a close matchup, but in a game where the Green Bay Packers could have actually beaten the San Francisco 49ers because Brock Purdy wasn't really impressive.
He wasn't. He was normal.
In the fourth quarter, Jordan Love played small, and that's not going to get you to the NFC title game. The Packers are a wild card. They will continue to be a wild card. This division, however, belongs to the Detroit Lions until the foreseeable future, because I will be picking the Lions next year to win the North again. Then yeah, Packers are just a wild card. Nothing wrong with it. Young team, you can improve, you can get better. But again, this is one of those things to look at moving forward. If they make the playoffs again, how's he going to look and how's he going to perform when the Packers aren't leading, compared to how they went into Texas and were up 14-0 in the blink of an eye. So you're playing a little bit more loose. You're taking more shots downfield. You're seeing things a little bit more clearly, as you normally do.
And then the 49ers found the way to fight back and stay in that game, and Purdy made the throws that mattered to win the game.
San Fran just has to finish their story. That's it. There's no just losing again in the NFC title game and like, oh, it's all good. Like, we can build from this. No, like, you have been to the NFC title game over and over and over and over, and you can't close the deal. You have to close. You have to close. You have to close this season with a championship. This
is their third straight appearance in the NFC title game.
There's nothing less. Even losing in the Super Bowl at this point for them is just like, you guys got to just win.
They have now been a part of 4 out of the last 2019, 2021, 2022, and 2023 seasons.
Chiefs and 49ers have been in the Final Four since the infancy of this podcast.
They went to the Super Bowl in 2019. They lost to the
Chiefs,
the Lions in the 2021 NFC title game.
No,
lost to the
Lions.
Not the Lions. I'm sorry, the Rams. They lost to the Rams in 2021. They lost to the Eagles in 2022, and now they got the Lions. You got to get over the hump. If the Lions beat them, it's like you said. Now you're turning into the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, at that point, you constant opportunity.
I'm just gonna look at you guys. We keep talking about how Dallas chokes. If they lose, the 49ers are turning into choke artists now.
Well, if the 49ers lose, then all of a sudden the not having a championship since '95 should hold just as much weight as Dallas not having won one since '96, because that's still 1 year more recent than the 49ers last.
That's a good point.
So at this point in time, you're talking about a 49ers team that has had a plethora of opportunities. Unlike Dallas, they can actually get to the NFC title game. Their issue is getting past the NFC title game at this point. So,
but there now becomes the expectation of, we don't care that you're here, now do it.
Yeah, you got.
So close. Now if you don't close, you're gonna get clowned just as much as they are.
It'll be bad to lose in the NFC title game. It'll be bad to lose in the Super Bowl. You got to win. Just win, baby. There's no if people are going to remember the fact you lost in the Super Bowl, and they're going to look back at the league history in the last 5 years.
If Brock Purdy plays the way he did last week, they're going to lose.
They're done. He was terrible.
I could see him throwing 2 picks and 2 ugly picks too.
You had the big explosive play from George Kittle, which was like their only explosive play in the first half, and then you had McCaffrey who took the game over.
Where if you watch the replay, there's a hold. It could have been negated.
They didn't call a hold?
Nope. Yeah. Go back and watch the play. You can see a hold. It was still a hell of a run, though. A hell of a run. So both of these games are exciting. It's if the Lions lose this championship game, we're not going to, clown them or make fun of them. We're going to look at them and be like, oh, shit, great season. We expected you to get to the playoffs. We thought you would probably win a playoff game. Besides Oscar money, nobody else thought you were going to get to the NFC title game. You got there. It's a successful season if you're a Detroit Lion. If you lose. But if you're a 49er, and you lose, it's a failure of a season. Everything you did was for nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing means nothing. Yeah. So it's going to be big. Something's going to have a lot of ramifications. Then, if the 49ers lose, it's going to be, can Kyle Shanahan, what's with him? Is he's going to become that next coach that we look at? He's going to become the next Jason Garrett. So we have a lot that could happen, a lot that can change so much. within the foreseeable future of the NFL. It's going to be interesting.
Absolutely.
I mean, whatever we get Super Bowl matchup-wise is going to be fun.
Should be a fun game across the board, no matter what. They're a different matchup, a breath of fresh air, so to speak. You know what I mean? You got Baltimore, Detroit, Baltimore, San Francisco. And then on the flip side, you've got Kansas City, Detroit, Kansas City, San Francisco. All the variables are in place. Now it's a question of, is it going to be Kansas City celebrating their third championship, Lamar Jackson getting his first Super Bowl, and then waiting to hear what his critics would say after that? 49ers being able to get over the hump, or the Detroit Lions continuing to, with their fans alongside
adding
them,
a championship along with all those Detroit Red Wings titles and Tigers, and
that would be the craziest scenario.
The Pistons
being able to push through
and finally adding a championship to their city with the rest of those sports.
That would be actually pretty incredible. I don't think any of us is rooting against the Lions at this point because they've been a great
Can we all now, 3 years later, admit that Dan Campbell's a hell of a good coach?
Dan Campbell's
and
awesome.
All those bad takes that some people had, this could have been this guy's job or this guy's job, and they got rid of this guy for this, and nah, bro, they made the right choice. Those players believe in him. When you hear them talk about their coach, like they mean that's coming from their guy. They mean it.
He'll make you run through a wall. That's the type of inspiration that he provides.
And then, like, when he gets emotional too with them, like I saw that speech he gave them at training camp. I told you to trust me. That's all I ask you to do is trust me, and we'll get there. And he's breaking down and tearing and screaming. Like, yo, you see that, like, this guy means it. Like he told the players, you're all I think about. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You play hard for that man, and look what he's done. Look what he's done for Jared Goff. Jared Goff talking about his time in Detroit is, like, cool to hear, you know what I mean? Because somebody who had their doubts and lack of confidence and everything, and he's got him playing at his highest level with an opportunity to go to his second Super Bowl. In his
that's
in
right.
His
I want to see something. What is
some good storylines to close out the NFL season?
Goff's record versus 49ers.
Yeah, and it's a pretty familiar team, for somebody who spent so much time in that division and had to go against Shanahan.
3-8.
3-8. Oh. I mean, look, I think the 49ers are going to win, but again, with what we've seen these last couple of weeks.
Wait, it can't be 3-8.
Taylor Swift versus Eminem. Oh, shit.
His Rams years, he was a monster against them.
Brother texting me about his phone acting up.
Uh-oh. Phones in your family, bro. That's a little scary.
Yeah, we do not have good luck when it comes to phones, bro.
Damn. It seems to me that Nick Sirianni press conference, man, it's catching a lot of people.
For good or bad reasons?
For bad reasons.
Because he sounds like an idiot. I didn't watch it, but I can imagine what he said or how he would say it. Because once you put him on the spotlight, what was his last big quote was when you get knocked down, you got two choices. You stay down or you get the F up. And after that, the Eagles proceeded to stay down and lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa.
Yo, the Falcons have now interviewed, after Vrabel, 14 different people for their head coaching gig. That's crazy. The Detroit Lions are the only team to not allow a 70-plus yard rusher this entire season. However, McCaffrey has rushed for 70-plus yards 12 times this season. Well, that's interesting. Here's where you're going to get all these crazy stats right before the game. Got a lot of Sheesh.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. And next week, of course, is the bye week up until we get to the Super Bowl, the breakdown of the Super Bowl matchup that we finally will have. Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? My official prediction at this time, based on the wager that I put, is San Francisco versus Baltimore, with Lamar Jackson getting his first Super Bowl trophy. Claiming it right now so that I can hold myself accountable on future episodes of podcasts. Oh, Jesus. We went through phones in this family like crazy.
He destroyed his?
No, he didn't. It's not charging for him. He's having trouble like charging his phone right now. So, there's my brother who's hurt right now. So it's like hard to get a hold of him. Like,
how is he?
He's doing good. He's as good as you can do. He's like bending his leg more. He's able to.
Tell him don't rush it.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's one of those things where at the beginning of the healing process, you feel good, but then there's those days where you feel like it's taking too long, and you're probably going to get frustrated, and you're, pushing to try to get yourself to feel better. So it's definitely a process.
Taylor Swift versus Eminem. Y'all don't want that.
That should be crazy. Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. After everything this season, to see her at the Super Bowl would be
crazy.
Yeah, absolute freaking madness. But yeah, man, like we said, like we started this podcast. This is the part of the year where football is slowly closing out. This is the last couple of chapters of the NFL season, 2023-24 season, a season full of so many questions that we still don't even have answers to this day. Like a lot of the questions we were asking ourselves over and over throughout the year never got answered. Like, will the Chiefs offense look the same back-to-back weeks? Like Chiefs versus
We're
Ravens,
still looking to see if that's going to happen this week.
Unstoppable force versus the immovable object. How far can Detroit go? Can the San Francisco 49ers finally finish their story and win a championship? All these head coaches with no jobs, teams with no head coach. Where will all these people land? Will we have more head coaches hired leading into next week's podcast when we break down a little bit of the Super Bowl? We talk a little bit about Supreme Baller Society, and we slowly but surely get ourselves ready for pitchers and catchers to return, because spring training is around the corner. Baseball season is around the corner, and it's going to be time to talk some baseball, break it all down, fantasy baseball, all that good stuff. Baseball props, because I haven't bet on basketball in like 3 weeks, and it feels pretty damn good. and if baseball makes me feel anything like basketball makes me feel, then
speaking of which,
I'm just going to take a long hiatus from betting until football comes back. Because
I'm already at that point where I don't think I'm going to bet until football.
I just basketball gets me so angry. And I don't want baseball to make me angry. So I'm naturally excited for baseball because I want it to make me feel the opposite of how basketball makes me feel. But if it makes me feel the same way, then there's a good chance that my DraftKings account is going to be pretty silent until September when football starts. And that's when I'll have all my slated games, my anytime touchdown parlays. Like that's when everything just... I'll be able to start fresh compared to jumping into the betting game at week 13, week 14 this year, and missing out on a nice chunk of change that I could have made.
So what's Bryce Harper this year?
Bryce
Harper's a plus 1,000 to win the MVP.
Ooh.
If I put $5 down, I'll win $55.
I got to get to work on this baseball league, dog. I'll give you the deets on that. I'm going to get to work. I'm going to find the list because it's in one of my notebooks. I have everybody's name written down. We'll discuss. I'll make a group chat. We'll discuss the platform, and we'll go from there so that everything is ready.
Team futures right now to win the World Series. The LA Dodgers are a plus 360.
Plus 360. Interesting.
The Yankees are a plus 900. That's odd.
Juan Soto, baby.
The Diamondbacks are a plus 3,500. If you want to get real froggy, the Oakland Athletics are plus 25,000.
Those are the bets I'm trying to make. Something
The
fraudulent.
Pirates are 12,000.
Chris,
If you put $5 down on the Pittsburgh Pirates to win the World Series, you'd win $600 if they actually did it.
Chris, I'm like 90% sure that you're already in, dude. Like your name, you've been written down from the jump. I think.
Can we do it with Sleeper?
You want to do a sleeper? That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got no issue with that. That'll be the first time I see it on there compared to the Yahoo app that I was using for the other league.
We got 11 minutes left, Donovan Mitchell. 22 points is not enough for my fantasy team.
Yeah.
Let's go, buddy. Get your head out of your ass.
Supreme Ballers, baby. Quick check on
Tyler here. We got 3 minutes left, and you gave me 21.
Let's see.
I should have started 8 in today against y'all. He's got 30 points.
Wait a minute. What's Jabari Smith doing? Does he hurt or something? I don't see any points next to his name, so I'm trying to.
That's never a good thing.
No, it's not. And you've got the Hawks playing the Golden State Warriors later on. I know this because I have Clint Capella in the starting spot. Right now,
Joe, I don't think Sleeper does baseball.
No, that would be stupid.
Fantasy football, fantasy basketball, fantasy LCS.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's not open yet.
Maybe. I hope they would. Otherwise, I don't know. We might have to do Yahoo. If you guys don't want to do ESPN. What will be the first? Like, we got to pick like some watch-along stuff for those slow sports weeks. We could have something on. Even if we cut it on like a couple matches in. Like, we could watch a Royal Rumble, you know? And just do a live reaction to a Royal Rumble match itself or something. You know, in the spirit of WrestleMania season. Classic matches.
The home of fantasy baseball. Fantrax.
Fantrax?
Never heard of it.
I'm going to try to look into it when I can. I'm going to try to look into it with our resources. Keep everybody posted, everybody who's going to be a part of it.
Is Ohtani out the whole year?
Ohtani is out of pitching the whole year. He's still going to be designated.
He's going to do what Bryce did last year?
Yeah, he's not pitching. He's going to hit, though. So Ohtani will be.
As long as the Phillies don't waste the farm and trade current players for Mike Trout, I'm fine.
Phillies just.
Just don't do that.
I mean, for the Phillies, you got an expensive team right now. You got to kind of just run it back with what you have. Reese Hoskins just signed with the Brewers, so he's not there.
Kudos to him. $34 million on 2 years, 17
nice
a year.
Nice deal.
I wish him nothing but the best.
Nice chunk of change, my friend.
I'm always going to remember Reese's when he hit that bomb off of the Braves and just slammed his bat down. Because that was the last hit he really had.
Yeah.
He didn't do much in the
he got hurt
World
and then
Series.
He got replaced. He did not. But we'll see, man. We'll see what your story looks like, and we'll be talking about them along with every other.
I don't think they win the division, but I think they're going to be the top wild card again. The Braves are just a loaded team.
I'm hoping we can win it all, man. The Braves mentally just ain't right. After the losses that they've suffered, they got a great squad. Now they got to worry about the Dodger issue on that side.
The Dodgers are still going to do what the Dodgers do. All they did was just pay for more money to choke.
Yeah, but I'll remind you, every National League team choked. All of them. So
the Phillies did. That was sad.
It's just the Chokers League, and it's about who takes longest to choke.
The Diamondbacks whooped our ass. They whooped the Dodgers' ass.
They did. Diamondbacks weren't playing any games this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Diamondbacks are a team that misses the playoffs completely this year, because that's what happens. You got a team that's like flash in the pan, and then the very next year they look like the young team that they're supposed to look like pretty much when the expectations finally get set upon them. The Mets want to be the Yankees so bad. I mean, I haven't been watching what they've been up to. I'm sure I'll hear about it from the Mets fans at the beginning of the year, because Mets fans are always the loudest at the beginning of the year.
I think the Mets are going to be in last place.
Well, there you go. There's our full breakdown of the New York Mets.
I think the Nationals are going to be in a better spot than them.
There you have it. Folks, this has been On the Money Podcast. We Had a blast breaking it down tonight. Love the wrestling convo to kick off the show. Great way to celebrate the Royal Rumble weekend. Hoping that my friends who are off on Saturday night are able to enjoy the Royal Rumble the proper way. Kick back, relax, enjoy the show for what it is. The spoilers, I'm not going to say no spoilers because my news feed is going to be full of them, so I'll know what happens. I just like to
I must
go back and watch.
Finish the story.
I'm ordering Chinese tomorrow. I'll keep you in mind.
Same here, bro. My wife's going to be going to the movies with my sister, so that means it's just me and Aiden. I'm going to order me some Chinese, too, on my way home from work.
I will be at work tomorrow, so I'll be eating at work.
Famous, sir!
We're still just sitting here watching some AEW in the background, live watch along.
What the hell was that?
I don't know who most of these people are. I don't know.
That's the Acclaim.
Those are the Scissor Boys, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, and they just won with
and there's still
badass
6-man
Billy
tag.
Gunn
Those are Billy Gunn's
getting the
kids,
pin.
not the guy with long hair. The other two,
Oh shit!
Austin
Billy
and Cole Gunn.
Still to this day, Billy Gunn looks like he's in amazing freaking shape.
Yeah.
He's like not human.
Where's Bart?
Who knows, man?
Where's their Uncle Bart?
Doing a shoot interview about to click somewhere, probably like a lot of the guys from that time.
AEW's like drinking hot seltzer water.
Diet WCW, baby.
Bro, they were on a roll the first 2.5 years.
They fell off a cliff.
Those first 2.5 years, man, they were on a roll.
That boy can't stay off Twitter. That's the problem.
And then they just fell. Like the whole pandemic year, like they were amazing.
Yeah.
And then it just went.
Momentum is a tricky thing.
Yeah,
Momentum
it is
something that you have to
And
try
they
your
just-
best to hold.
They need
when
to
you
find
have
a
it.
way to get it back
'Cause
badly.
when you lose it, and now not only have you lost it, but WWE is heading into Mania season. So now they're trying. Like they're putting the effort in. They're getting the returns. They're the matches, the potential title changes, like the comebacks, the Rock with the move that he just made.
Yo, Chris, you better stop that shit. Your cousin's gonna see you talking shit about AEW.
And he's gonna lose it.
He's
gonna lose it.
Yo, your cousin's gonna go crazy.
Don't worry, bro. Leave the AEW bashing to me, bro. I got you.
Your cousin's coming after you,
But
Chris.
I think a lot of people see what I'm saying though, as far as what they are, what they were, what they could have been, and that's
what they need to be.
And what they can't become.
Just focus on you.
There you go. Rated R
Focus on
Superstar.
your
The
product.
Rated R Superstar comes out as soon as you said that.
I'm expecting a text.
Tony Khan kept dipping his nose in that sugar bowl too much.
Yo, I want to watch wrestling with him. I seriously do, bro. Just so I can see how he acts and reacts. Like, I want to be in person with him.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
I picture that guy from that went to WrestleMania and was freaking out because Roman Reigns won.
No,
and then the fireworks went off and he was freaking out even worse.
I picture him as the black dude when Undertaker lost, where he's like,
oh yeah, just an utter shock.
Like that's
freaking that's freaking insane.
Oh, I would love to watch some wrestling with Nick.
Nothing wrong with it, man. You enjoy what you enjoy. We enjoy having fun talking about it, breaking it down. I have a good feeling about these watch-alongs. I think that everybody would enjoy those, even if we were to do like watch-alongs that you guys would want us to watch. And for those of you who have Peacock or whatever, you can fire that shit up and watch it with us and just break it down, talk about it.
Just picture Jason Kelsey at the game this past weekend. Snap!
That was an awesome picture.
Okay.
Awesome picture.
Then I want to watch wrestling with him.
Yeah, Royal Rumble this Saturday. Hope everybody enjoys it. AFC, NFC Championship games on Sunday.
Jam-packed weekend.
More coaching news, basketball, On the Money podcast, returning live, same time, same place next week to break it all down. We have an extra week, so maybe we'll dabble in some other stuff and not necessarily
talk a little basketball. We're not going to listen.
You're going to
we'll review the game, but we're not going to.
Yeah, if anything, we're probably not going to spend
We'll
too much
preview
time
the
on
Super Bowl the following week.
Yeah, we probably won't even spend that much time on the Super Bowl because that's kind of our tradition on this podcast. We already know that you're going to have plenty of outlets talking to you about the Super Bowl, so we're going to try to cover some of the news that
this Wednesday coming up. We will not talk about the Super Bowl. Now the following Wednesday is different because it's 5 days away.
Yeah, we'll try something a little bit more, go into our creative bag and come up with something a little juicier for you guys that we can break down. Do you have Peacock here?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we can fire up Peacock and throw on a watch along or something while we do our podcast, talk some basketball, some baseball, and all that good stuff. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the comments. Paul, Chris, you guys are definitely the MVPs tonight. You brought it. I appreciate it. I appreciate talking with you guys. Everything that you guys do for and within the forum, keep it going. Get your On the Money Sports Forum points up. That's the only way to collect.
Only way to get Drew Bucks.
And yeah, man, you guys just have a good night. Thank you for staying tapped in with us, and we hope that you have peaceful rest tonight.
See you next week. Enjoy the weekend, guys.